I think she does too.
Yeah.
Joe Lossett is 7-0 on Miracles. Let's go ahead and pop in and see if Ze'eva can take this down.
I've played against her. She has burned my face off.
So Ze'eva is on 6.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. You know, we've talked about it before, but these Miracles decks, everyone's playing a different variant. And Joe's deck is a little more creature heavy than the others. And normally a card like Searing Blaze is not good against Miracles, but we'll have to see if it ends up doing some damage here.
All right, so this is how you can tell if you are playing against a Burn player who is seasoned.
Yeah, she's got the Ice Age Mountains.
Those are foil Arena promo mountains.
Oh, really?
And a foil Monastery Swiftspear.
Are you sure it's not Ice Age?
Yeah, it's the Ice Age picture, but it's from the Arena promos. It has the little star on it.
I just want everything to be Ice Age.
All right, so she's going to attack Joe down to 19. Joe has an island here, but no counterbalance. So Ze'eva might have a chance here to push a bunch of damage through.
And she's got the red dress. She's got the red sleeves. This is one of those situations where you're trying to figure out your mulligan decisions on game one, and sometimes you like look at your opponent and think, I wonder what they're playing. I think this is one of the situations where you could just guess.
All right, where Ze'eva is going to use a Lava Spike to deal 3 damage to Joe. So this is going to bring him down to 16. Get a Prowess trigger on our Swiftspear. Going to attack in for 2.
Ze'eva really has the sound of like some sort of fire goddess, doesn't it?
This is a very unique name.
Yeah, it's sweet.
And so Joe's going to brainstorm here. What's he looking for? Well, there's that counterbalance. That's going to be good.
Yeah, counterbalance is phenomenal in this matchup. Ze'eva has a few powerful cards that are not 1 mana, but for the most part, you know, it's almost like a Delver deck where almost every card really is 1 mana.
Right, so we're going to get a post-combat Chain Lightning. Interesting that she didn't do that before the combat step.
Yeah, I wonder if she was trying to play around Lightning Bolt somehow there.
Well, I mean, Chain Lightning is a sorcery.
Oh, it is Chain Lightning. Sorry, I was
It'll be interesting to see if Joe survives this game at 1.
Yeah.
But he's going to fall down to 10, use his Scalding Tarn, get a Tundra, Terminus, and the combat step.
So this is a huge play, this counterbalance. What does Joe have on top of his library?
That's really what it's going to come down to here. If he has a 1 and can stave off some damage here, it's going to be very good. Ooh, Eidolon. Let's go. All right, so there's a Cavern.
Coast is clear.
Pass the turn back without a 3rd land.
And Eidolon is so good in Legacy.
It really is.
It really is. It's so good.
Joe has a Jace here, though.
Oh, wow. So that is 4 mana.
All right, Jace is going to bounce the Eidolon, pass the turn back. So Joe's going to have a redraw here at hitting a 2 on top.
He's got to be worrying about Price of Progress. Price of Progress would be 8 damage here.
Well, he has a couple basics.
Joke. Does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe plays 1,000,000 basics in his deck.
Oh, yeah, he's got 2 basics. Never mind.
So here's a Lava Spike. Counterbalance. Oh, it's going to hit the Spell Snare. And that's going to give him an answer next turn to that Eidolon.
Yeah, and it would have been nice to answer that Jace so that Joe wouldn't have control of the top of his library. And this is probably the turning point of the game. Ze'eva may be able to do something fancy with sequencing her spells after Joe is drawn for the turn, or after his upkeep, but before his draw step.
So we're gonna
excuse me, after his draw step, but before his main phase when he can activate Jace. And you know, Fire Blast may be part of a winning situation, but it's going to be an uphill climb for Ze'eva from here on out.
Well, Joe's just going to brainstorm, play a Flooded Strand, and pass the turn back.
And she has tons of gas. It would have been nice if she could have drawn a 3rd land this game. It would have meant that the turn that she played Lava Spike, she could have redeployed the Eidolon. But this deck is quite tight on mana. It only plays 20 lands, as it should. Most Burn players play between 18 and 20 lands, depending on whether or not they're playing fetch lands. And this is the point where Joe is going to basically take a long time to win this game.
So it looks like we're going to get a fetch into a Snapcaster on Ze'eva's end step.
Likely going for the Brainstorm just to dig through his deck a bit more.
All right, in response, we're going to get a Lightning Bolt. It's going to flip. It's going to be redirected
and that is
to Jace.
a great move on Ze'eva's part. She was very patient with that. She took a good moment to make use of that Lightning Bolt, and has paid off. So good play on Ze'eva's part.
Joe is going to resolve a Brainstorm here. You're never that far out of the woods when you're playing against this burn deck if you're down around 10.
Yeah.
Fire Blast is a heck of a card. And here we see another big payoff for Joe. He plays 6 basics in his deck. We got 3 of them.
Yeah, I really like these Miracles decks that are playing more basics. It also makes you a lot more resilient to mana disruption from lands and Delver decks.
Snapcaster Mage is going to attack. It's going to bring Ze'eva down to 18. She's just going to draw and pass the turn back to Joe. Let's see what he wants to do on the end step here.
Yeah, and I think what we're likely to see is a situation where oh, here we go. This is going to force some action.
Maybe Searing Blaze? One to you, one to that Vendanian click.
That would be great.
Oh, she knows that Joe has the Spell Snare, though. We got Price of
she
Progress.
does have Price of Progress. 2 Fire Blasts.
Price of Progress, 2 Fire Blasts. Looks like that's a Monastery Swift Spear and a Eidolon of the Great Rebel.
And it seems to me like Ze'eva is waiting for a 3rd land drop so that she can deploy more than one thing in a turn. Or wait for something she can fire off end of turn instant speed to potentially see if the coast is clear to untap and then deploy another thing. I like taking the Price of Progress here. It's a 4-point burn spell, and it's one of the more threatening cards in her hand.
And since there's 2 Fire Blasts, you can't really get rid of them both.
Yeah.
Joe's going to fall to 9 using his fetch land. Going to get a Plains.
Fire Blast is such a bold card. That's really where you're putting it all on the line.
Yeah, you got to dead him.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for anyone who plays Fire Blast.
Make him dead. I don't know if you've ever seen that Best of SCG Live where our own Patrick Chapin just gets to school Ross Merriam and the
mean
burn,
Patrick Sullivan.
or Patrick Sullivan gets to school Ross Merriam in the Maverick versus Burn.
So good.
I feel bad for Ross, but like you said, we're coming up on an anniversary for that video. Maybe we'll make him a cake with a Fire Blast on top.
I actually saw Kai Bude post on Twitter that they're still playing that replay over and over and over again, and someone responded, "We're never taking that down."
Yeah, it doesn't ever get old. And it's nothing against Ross. It's just
it's just a great replay.
Insane play from Patrick.
So good.
All right, here we have a Swift Spear. Ooh, going to get by that counterbalance.
And Joe is missing on so many of these blind flips.
The Goblin Guide.
And so this is nice. Ze'eva is looking to see if the coast is clear and doing it on a turn where she can also deploy something else so that she maximizes the opportunity that she has.
Joe has to keep in mind that there's still that Fire Blast in Ze'eva's hand.
Yep.
So he has a Force of Will. We might see him hard cast the Force of Will here. That way he still has Spell Snare for a 2-drop and a Plow to either hit an attacker or gain 3 off of hitting his own Vendanian Click if he needs to. All right, well, he's going to draw the Volcanic Island. Is he just going to take 3? No, he's going to Plow the Goblin Guide.
Yeah. I would go after the Goblin Guide, I think. Yeah.
Plow's going to hit the Goblin Guide. It's going to take Ze'eva up to 15. Joe's going to drop to 7.
And if Joe can find a Jace or a Sensitive Divining Top, that would probably essentially lock Ze'eva out of the game. But that being said, Joe is still in a good spot here. He doesn't have a lock in the game, but he's in a good position, and he's most certainly favored.
All right, so he picked up another copy of Swords to Plowshares. Let's see if he might just plow the Swift Spear and attack for 5. Okay, gonna plow the Swift Spear.
I feel like I would
bring Ze'eva up to 16. Gonna attack
wait
for 5
until Ze'eva's combat step in case she tries to play another Goblin Guide. But looks like Joe just doesn't want to have to worry about any shenanigans. Just wants to do it right now.
Ze'eva did find another land. Looks like it's a Taiga. We have some Destructive Revelry in the sideboard, so she has access to other cards. I'm excited to see how these Exquisite Firecraft out of her sideboard is going to turn out.
Yeah, me too. I have a friend here who's actually playing Burn, and we were talking about Exquisite Firecraft quite a bit and wondering how good it was in the Miracles matchup. Excited to see how that goes.
All right, well, Spell Snare is going to take care of that Eidolon of the Great Revel. Ze'eva is going to play her Taiga and another Lava Spike. She's navigated this game very well, making sure that her cards aren't getting snagged multiple times by counterbalance, straining Joe's mana.
Yeah, she's really sequenced things in a way where she's made the most of the few opportunities she's had, especially given that Joe hasn't had access to Sensei's Divining Top.
So if Joe takes this, all right, well, he's just going to hardcast a Force of Will. Ze'eva has 2 Fire Blast in hand, so if she can draw another mountain next turn, she might just be able to win this game outright.
Also, if she draws another 1-mana 3-point burn spell, she could potentially win the game as well. So Joe's in a bit of a precarious position.
Looks like it might be a Jace. That would be real good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Jace was revealed off the counterbalance. So there is the Jace. We're likely to get a Brainstorm here out of Joe. Maybe even a Fate Seal? But I feel like so much of Ze'eva's deck is going to be lethal here. You're better off Brainstorming.
Right. I agree. The things that wouldn't kill Joe are a 1-mana creature, and that's only if Joe has a blocker for it. I guess an Eidolon wouldn't be an immediate kill either.
I really want to see this game end to double Fire Blast.
Oh, that would be so good.
Just 4 lands. I have no permanents, but you're at 0.
Yep.
All right, what is Joe going to do? Are we Fate Sealing? I know he's going to bounce his Snapcaster Mage so that he can...
So this way he can plow his own Vendilion Clique.
Joe Lossett, you're a smart man.
Yep. And if Ze'eva doesn't try to kill him immediately, he would be able to have that Snapcaster for Force of Will later on.
Counterbalance? Oh, it hits with a Ponder.
And this is a monstrous turning point. This means that Joe has Ze'eva on a 2-turn clock, and with Snapcaster in hand and Jace in play, there's a good chance that Joe is just barely going to be able to cross the finish line. Joe would rather use his mana than not use his mana, but I think that the best thing to do is to just say go. Or
to not
cast something.
Cast the Snapcaster Mage.
And now Joe is probably free to Brainstorm or Fate Seal. He could probably go either way. And it looks like he's going to Fate Seal. And now he also has the option to Snapcaster Force of Will hardcast, which is quite nice. So I have to imagine with Joe leaving that card on top, Ze'eva is drawing dead, and Joe's going to be able to take this down on the following turn.
All right, here's a Ponder.
Would have liked to see Joe ponder before attacking and have attacking be the last thing he does for his turn, but I guess the sequencing doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, I can't imagine any card that Joe's going to see that makes him not attack.
Right.
Well, there's an Entreat. Not going to do much. He left Ze'eva with the land. We can still get...
She can still fight through the counter magic to kill the Vendilion Click, but can't kill Joe, and that would leave her without any permanence.
Float 2, Fire Blast. Oh, Joe drew another Force of Will.
Wow. So Joe missed some of his blind flips with counterbalance, but he managed to draw the things he needed on these last couple turns to narrowly skid across the finish line in this matchup. Ze'eva played this really well. I look forward to seeing her in these next 2 games. Hopefully we get 3 out of this.
She did play this very well, but
she did.
That Jace bounce Snapcaster Mage by Joe was very, very smart.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people might have missed that line.
Yeah. I like this. I know that I've lost this game, but I'm going to hit you for 4 more on the way out.
We're killing that Vendilion Click, and you got to take another turn to kill me.
Yep.
Let's see what you got. Eidolon, keep it.
Nice, I like it. All right, so on to the sideboard games.
Yeah, Joe's going to take game 1 over Ze'eva. He's playing Miracles. She is on burn. Let's take a look at their player sideboard so we can see what we think they're going to do. So we have 3 Destructive Revelry, 3 Exquisite Firecraft, 2 Pyroblast, 1 Red Elemental Blast, 2 Grim Lavamancer, and 4 Flame Rift for Ze'eva. How do you think she's going to sideboard?
I think she's going to bring in 9 out of her 16 or 15 cards. I think she's going to bring in the Revelries, the Firecraft, the Pyroblast, and the Red Elemental Blast.
I can see that. Do you think it's potential that she wants to bring in Flame Rift since her life total is not under assault very much by Joe at all?
She could do that, but I think the 1 mana burn spells are going to be a bit more important because of how fast they are. So I think that she wants to keep her curve, for the most part, much lower.
All right, so we've got 1 Swords to Plowshares, 2 Moat, 2 Wear Tear, 1 Pyroblast, 2 Red Elemental Blast, 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Back to Basics, and 3 Flusterstorm for Joe Lossett. How do you think Joe's going to sideboard?
So I like bringing in the Flusterstorms. I also like bringing in the Swords to Plowshares. Moat seems a little slow for the matchup, although it would be quite good against some of Ze'eva's creatures. That said, I don't think it's really going to be applicable. Wear and Tear has a small amount of utility against Eidolon of the Great Revel, and also Sulfuric Vortex, which can be both very problematic cards. So I think it's likely just going to be the Flusterstorms and the Wear Tears.
Yeah, Flusterstorm in general for me has been very, very good against my burn opponents. Did you also mention that the Swords to Plowshares should come in as well?
Yeah. Yep. You just need 1 mana removal for those 1 mana haste threats, and Eidolon.
Plus, just being able to gain life off of your own creatures is very, very good
it has
too.
a lot of usefulness in the matchup.
He actually stopped himself from dying that 1 turn to a land off the top because of that. Pretty smart man. Pretty smart man. So Joe Lossett plays a lot of Magic. You might catch him on his stream. You also might catch him here at the Opens, as well as playing in a little more local events.
Yep.
Like the SCG Regionals. So if you're not going to be playing in Pro Tour Eldritch Moon, which there are quite a few people that aren't going to make it because of the whole visa fiasco with Australia.
Don't even get me started on that.
Make sure you check out the regional championships hosted by StarCityGames.com. They're going to be in different areas across the U.S. So make sure you check out go.starcitygames.com/regionals. You can get this awesome exclusive playmat that you can only get these from playing in regionals. And I really like these art styles. And
Not again?
This is the first time I've seen this, but I didn't realize the goblin's name was Not Again. These are the tokens that you can get from the regional championships. Season 2, August 6, 2016. Free exclusive playmat and token to the first 200 players. Go.starcitygames.com/regionals. It's not only do you get those sweet swag, but it is a cash tournament.
Yeah.
So first place, $1,200 in prizes, along with 20 SCG points. Top 8 is going to give you a qualification for the Invitational. So if you happen to not be qualified for the Invitational in New Jersey at the end of August, you can come battle in the regional championships, August 6, 2016. We even got a map. Look at this. We're even going to show you.
We make it easy for you.
Not only there in the U.S., but there's even a spot in Canada, it looks like.
It's true.
So go.starcitygames.com/regionals to participate.
Yeah, and you can go on the Star City's website also just to find these. This map is there also. You'll be able to put in your zip code, find the one that's closest to you. You know, Star City Games, we just try to make it easier for you to find this stuff. And the points are one of the great reasons to go to these. The points are so valuable. You can get buys. They're really the things that players desire the most. It's just those points.
Yeah, outside of Opens, Classics, and Invitationals, Regionals is the only event that you can get points at.
It's a lot harder to get points than it used to.
So while we wait for our players here,
who are you rooting for?
Looks like we're shuffling. Oh, they're already. What, in this match?
Yeah.
Joe's real good.
Yeah.
And he's real good with miracles. Mm-hmm. But I personally am not a huge fan of the deck. So
I just want to see Price of Progress win a game in Fire Blast.
That being said, I enjoy games ending in spectacular fashion.
Yep.
And as long as that happens, I don't care who wins.
All right,
so
fair enough.
So whether it's a sweet play by Joe by bouncing his own Snapcaster Mage to stay alive with the Swords to Plowshares, or, you know, finding that case terminus, like, you know, 20 turns down the line when he shuffles a million times, or Ze'eva just fire blasting Joe's face off. I'm fine with whatever the outcome is, as long as it is in spectacular fashion.
I want to see one game won with a Fire Blast. That's my my goal for the weekend.
All right, so Ze'eva is going to start off here. Arid Mesa is going to find a mountain, going to fall to 19.
And I believe the last game Ze'eva was on the draw.
She was.
It would have been a lot different if she was on the play. I think
Absolutely.
the play draw is going to make a big impact on this. I expect Ze'eva to win this game, and I think it's going to be pretty close as to who wins the next one.
Well, Joe's going to fall to 19 using a Force of Will to stop that Monastery Swift Spear.
And discarding a Brainstorm is a real cost here. If Joe had been able to be on the play, he might have been able to respond to that with something like a Swords to Plowshares, but feeling the need to just get rid of that thing right away, Force of Will is going to have to be the only answer.
All right, Ze'eva's going to fall down to 18 using her Wooded Foothills, find another beautiful Arena Foil Mountain.
Yep.
Let's see what she decides to play now.
Would like to see Eidolon. Eidolon would probably be the best play here.
Flame Rift.
Oh, well, there you go. You called it.
Boom, 4 damage. Joe's going to fetch in response, though. This is a 2-mana spell that does have the potential to get hit by Spell Snare, so maybe we will see that. We do.
Yeah, and one nice thing that I guess should be mentioned about Flame Rift is just diversifying the casting cost of your spells is kind of good against the Miracles game plan. A lot of times, you know, especially in this matchup, the Miracles player probably assumes that as long as they have a 1 on top, they're mostly going to be safe with counterbalance. But Flame Rift is a nice way to get around that.
Joe is going to play a Plains for his turn. He's going to cast a Sensei's Defining Top and then pass the turn back to Ze'eva. Let's see what she's going to do this turn. This would be a perfect opportunity for Sulfuric Vortex.
And this is a really good card in the matchup. Joe doesn't have very good ways to deal with this card. He probably has Wear Tears, but that's it.
Well, Joe's going to top in response and see a copy of Wear Tear. So he will be able to use
no big deal.
The white side of Wear Tear to destroy an enchantment. Again,
had it.
As long as you put perfects in your deck, you can draw them.
Yep.
So if your deck's all perfects, then that's what you're going to draw. Joe's going to take 2 damage from Sulfuric Vortex. Going to fall down to 16.
So at least this Sulfuric Vortex is getting in for some damage and trading with the card. While that's not 100% ideal, it's all right. And Joe milking the Sulfuric Vortex for everything he can. He's going to wait to kill it until after Ze'eva has taken a damage. Wow, and Ze'eva's got 4 lands. That's a lot.
And she's going to fall to 16 from her own Vortex. On her end step, Joe is going to use the Tear portion of Wear Tear to get rid of the enchantment. We're going to draw a card with Divining Top.
I think there's a good chance Joe's going to crack his
shuffle
fetch
away.
land, shuffle it away, rearrange the top 3 again, and this is one of the great ways that you can use Sensei's Divining Top with fetch lands to just burn through your deck and find the action that you need. I'm a little worried about Ze'eva this game. 4 lands in play is something to be a little worried about. That said, Joe's got to look at that as like, wow, 4 lands in play. She could fire off a lot of spells at once.
A lot of Fire Blast coming at my face.
Yep.
I might only actually be at 7.
Yep. Yeah, imagine Joe had some non-basics here. You could see something like a random burn spell, a Price of Progress, 2 Fire Blasts, and that could add up to a ton of damage. It could easily add up to 15.
Well, Joe's going to have a 4th land here and a copy of Jace, the Mind Sculptor. It's better than all. Especially when you're playing Magic the Gathering.
Yep. And there is a window here for Ze'eva to do some serious damage. The shields are down. She has an opportunity to fire off some spells and only worry about Force of Will.
Looks like Joe does have a copy of it, though.
Yeah.
Let's see how much damage she can do. She's finding another Taiga. Leads me to think that she definitely has Destructive Revelry in.
Yeah. Also makes me think that maybe she doesn't have Price of Progress in her hand.
Or even in her deck.
Yeah, she might not have it in her deck.
Joe does have 6 basics in his list.
Yeah, these Moracles decks have been playing more and more basics as time goes on.
Oh, nothing on the end step.
Ooh, that's scary. So this burn deck, it only plays 20 lands, so generally speaking, it doesn't draw very many lands. But Ze'eva is essentially catching the wrong end of variance. It seems to be flooding out a little bit.
All right, so Flame Rift is being cast. Let's see if she's going to redirect it or not. Oh, no.
I've got one goal.
Everything's up top.
Yep.
Your Jace is...
Your Jace
not
is of no
significant.
consequence to me. The 4-point burn spells are no joke. Ze'eva only has to resolve 3 more spells to win this game.
And they could just be Exquisite Firecraft that are very uncounterable.
Yep. And that actually would be a card that she might have had in her hand and chose not to cast because she didn't have Spell Mastery yet.
Or just to conceal the damage.
Yeah. Because I believe that Flame Rift was the 2nd instant or sorcery in her graveyard. Before that, it was just Sulfuric Vortex and Monastery Swiftspear.
Mm-hmm.
So we may see a situation where she can just, Joe may think he's a lot safer than he actually is. He may allow himself to go down to 7 or 8, thinking that, well, I've still got this Force of Will. But if Ze'eva has Firecrafts, he's not going to be able to counter those.
Volcanic Island and a pass.
Here's one Firegraph,
one
and it does have Spell Mastery. So there's not a whole lot Joe can do about this.
That's going to kill the Jace. I wonder why she didn't just kill the Jace with the Flame Rift. Kind of feels like she gave Joe a free Brainstorm then.
Yeah. I also would have liked just going for Joe's face. I mean, he's almost dead.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're playing this burn deck, especially against something like Miracles, once you pick your path, once you make your bed, you just got to lay it. You can't have, 1 foot on one side and 1 foot in the other. You just got to go for it.
Yeah, that said, as the game develops, as you see new cards, it's always important to not get overcommitted to a game plan and be willing to adjust as you get new information.
That is true. I don't feel like Burn is the type of deck that has those liberties very often.
Ze'eva's been playing this deck a long time.
That's true. I'm
sure, I think she knows what she's doing.
I will default to the master.
Yeah.
We've got Jace, Snapcaster Mage flashing back a Brainstorm here for Joe Lossett.
She knows that Joe doesn't have a lot going on, so by killing that Jace, she does potentially buy herself a lot of time, as well as ensure that Joe doesn't have as much digging potential.
That is true.
Right now, in order for this Sensitive Divining Top to do real digging, it needs fetch lands to accommodate it, which means more marginal amounts of life loss on Joe's side.
Well, Snapcaster Mage is going to crash in, dropping Ze'eva down to 9. Joe does have another copy of Jace the Mind Sculptor. He also has a fetch land, though. He's just going to pass the turn.
And Ze'eva does have 2 Exquisite Firecrafts left in her deck.
Assuming she brought in all 3, which I have to imagine.
Yeah, I have to imagine if you have them in your sideboard at all, they're all 3 of them are coming in for this matchup.
She's just going to pass the turn back.
So patient.
Joe's going to top on her end step.
And Joe is winning the race.
Well, yeah. Ze'eva doesn't have any creatures.
Yeah. Well, but now she's actually at a life total lower than Joe. This is not how the matchup's supposed to play out.
I think we might see a Vendilion click here.
Building up the clock. And now we finally get to see what Ze'eva's working with.
Revelry, Flame Rift, and Fire Blast.
It almost seems like she would have liked to have seen a counterbalance at some point.
Yeah. All right, Joe's just going to let her keep all the cards.
As Ze'eva is playing defense.
She's going to Fire Blast the Vendilion click.
Don't need those mountains. 3 is more than enough.
It's interesting Joe tapped down his Caracas to play that too.
Yeah, rather than the basic planes.
All right, he's going to top. Attack with the Snapcaster Mage, knocks Ze'eva down to 8.
This
7.
might be a good spot to deploy the Jace. He knows what Ze'eva is working with. He knows that he's probably safe.
Seal. He also has a Force of Will blue card.
Yep, he knows that he's probably safe this turn, but it looks like he says, all I need is the Snapcaster to win. Get all the cards I need.
Turn back. Now we're going to suspend a Rift Bolt.
And you can't counter that yet. So that's a nice way of trying to overload Joe's mana on one turn.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to go ahead and top.
$10 is probably not a whole lot different than 11.
Yeah, I actually don't think it's different at all. All right, Joe's going to fall down to 10. He's going to use his Scalding Tarn.
Joe's also got some nice lands. Looks like all of those are signed.
They're revised.
I do like the revised.
3rd edition.
His planes are revised also.
Well,
So that finally there's the counterbalance, but at this point Joe might not even want it.
Well, if there's another 2 that he can put along with it, it's worthwhile.
Yeah, he knows that Destructive Revelry is waiting in the wings. That's definitely going to be something that is on his mind. He might not also want it because counterbalance is something that you really want to use to in a long game where it's going to have enough time to accrue a lot of value. Whereas since this game is almost over, he may just say that, he doesn't need it.
Well, he's got a Snapcaster. Attacks Ze'eva, put her down to 3. She's just going to pass the turn. Looks like he's got Force Blue Card Spell Snare.
Yep.
Going to target the top on his end step. He's going to flip it to draw a card. Going to cast the Forcible, and he has another Force with another blue card in hand.
Yep.
Rift Bolt.
And that looks like it's going to be game. Ze'eva has fought the valiant fight. She was stuck on the draw in game 1, had a really close game, almost got it out, but then unfortunately in game 2 she just kind of flooded out, didn't have as much action as she wanted, and Joe Lossett, the miracle steam train, just keeps going.
Yeah, Joe's going to pick up the win here in round 8. He's going to move to 8-0 with his Miracles list. He's currently 3rd on our Player of the Year leaderboard.